Welcome, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled to jump into today's breakdown. We're going to unpack a fascinating academic analysis that bridges the gap between ancient Eastern mysticism and modern Western pop psychology. We're putting the modern law of attraction right alongside the profound spiritual wisdom of Rumi's masterpiece, the Masnavi.
Here is a wild question to kick things off. Did a 13th century Persian mystic actually invent the law of attraction? I mean, think about it. 7 whole centuries before The Secret became a global phenomenon, Rumi was already writing extensively about the magnetic pull of human intent, the idea that like attracts like, and how our inner world actively shapes our outer reality. But, as we're going to see, his ultimate endgame was vastly different from just manifesting a new car or a bigger bank account.
Let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today. 1. The law of attraction. 2. 3 versions of the law. 3. Rumi's inner universe. 4. Parallels in the Masnavi. And 5. Ego versus the divine.
Section 1. The law of attraction.
So the modern law of attraction is built on one very simple premise: like attracts like. According to this theory, human thoughts and feelings act as actual, invisible vibrational forces. It's a very literal belief. If you consistently think about wealth, success, and joy, well, you'll literally draw those corresponding events into your reality. On the flip side, if you're always focusing on fear, poverty, or failure, you're going to unconsciously attract those exact negative situations. It basically paints the human mind as a living, breathing magnet.
Now, while this idea absolutely blew up in mainstream culture recently, its roots go way, way deeper. It definitely didn't start with The Secret in 2006. We can trace it back through the 19th century New Thought movement in America. There was even a book by William Walker Atkinson called Thought Vibration, published way back in 1906. And if we go even farther back, that foundational idea of as above, so below, that correspondence between the inner mind and the outer world, well, that traces all the way back to ancient Hermetic philosophical traditions.
Section 2. 3 versions of the law.
Researchers actually break this law down into 3 distinct versions. First up, you have the cosmic or supernatural version. This is the idea that the universe is essentially a magical vending machine responding directly to your mental vibrations. Second is the psychological version, which treats the law more like a grounded tool for focus and motivation. And third is the moral or metaphorical version, exploring how human intention and character naturally impact our social relationships and our practical destiny.
There is, however, some pretty serious critique directed at that cosmic version. Philosophers and psychologists are quick to point out that it severely lacks scientific evidence. But beyond that, there's a really deep concern about victim blaming. If we accept that our thoughts purely dictate our reality, that kind of implies that people suffering from poverty, illness, or completely uncontrollable tragedies somehow attracted those hardships through negative thinking. This critique really highlights how the cosmic view can completely ignore systemic realities, economics, and history.
Because of that, the crucial point here is that the psychological version is what actually holds up to scrutiny. It doesn't rely on invisible magic. Instead, it works through a highly practical chain of actions. You imagine a clear goal that naturally shifts your daily attention, helping you spot opportunities you probably would have missed otherwise. That newly shifted attention leads you to make new decisions, which ultimately changes your behavior. So it's grounded action, not just wishing into the void.
Section 3. Rumi's inner universe.
Now, we're going to transition away from the modern self-help aisle and step into the profound, mystical, and frankly beautiful world of Rumi's Masnavi. Rumi absolutely did not view humans as passive observers in the universe. The Masnavi reveals his deep belief that our inner direction and our intent actively shape our existence. He believed that what you seek, and maybe more importantly, how you seek it, defines your character and your ultimate destiny. But to be clear, he wasn't talking about attracting a good parking spot. He was talking about the existential pull of the human soul.
Rumi illustrates this worldview with just a brilliant, resonant metaphor. He says, "This world is a mountain, and our action the shout. The echo of the shouts comes back to us." What an incredibly beautiful way to show that the moral, psychological, and social consequences of our actions inevitably echo right back into our lives. You project goodness, that goodness echoes back. You project hostility, well, that is exactly the echo you're going to hear.
Section 4. Parallels in the Masnavi. When we compare their views on the immense power of desire, a really fascinating parallel emerges. Modern texts like The Secret tell us to visualize a goal to attract it, right? Rumi, however, talks about cultivating a true state of thirst. In the Masnavi, he essentially says, don't go seeking water. Instead, obtain thirst, and the water will spring up around you. Both of these perspectives firmly believe that intense, focused internal desire is the true catalyst for external reality to manifest. Furthermore, Rumi understood something that modern cognitive psychology is just confirming today. Our internal state completely colors how we perceive external reality. He wrote, "Everyone became my friend from his own opinion. None sought out my secrets from within me." Basically, our assumptions, our opinions, dictate how we interpret the entire world. If you are deeply suspicious, you're going to perceive innocent actions as threats. Your inner state essentially acts as a filter for your entire universe.
But Rumi is very careful to caution us. The source text brings up Rumi's famous metaphor of the elephant in the dark, where people touch different parts of an elephant in a pitch-black room, and each one believes they understand the whole animal. One touches the leg and thinks it's a pillar. Another touches the trunk and thinks it's a water pipe. This is such a brilliant warning against oversimplifying complex realities. Reducing human existence to a simple formula like positive thought equals positive result is basically like grasping only one small part of that elephant. It completely ignores the vast complexities of history, society, and plain old chance.
Section 5. Ego versus the divine. Now, the stark contrast between the ultimate goals of both systems is just fascinating. The modern law of attraction is at its absolute core centered on feeding the ego. It's all about, I want wealth, I want success, I want my desires fulfilled. The focus is completely self-centered and material. Rumi's goal, it's the exact opposite. His aim is to actually destroy the ego in order to find divine truth. For Rumi, true freedom isn't getting everything you want. True freedom is escaping the slavery of constantly wanting things in the first place.
And this divide extends perfectly into how they view suffering. Modern manifestation theories often view suffering and failure as a glitch, right? Like it's a failure of mindset that has to be avoided. The idea is, if you're suffering, your vibrations are wrong. Rumi, conversely, views suffering as a necessary, divine physician. Hardships are meant to cure our spiritual ailments. They break down our arrogance and awaken us to much deeper truths. In Rumi's eyes, suffering isn't an error, it's an education.
To really solidify these overarching differences, let's break it down. One paints a mechanical universe of attraction, while the other paints a divine universe of meaning. For the modern law, the inner self is really just a tool you use to acquire external objects. But for Rumi, the inner self is the ultimate destination itself. It's the place where you cleanse yourself so you can reflect divine light.
So if we synthesize the source text analysis of Rumi's true message, we arrive right here. The universe is not some cosmic wish-granting machine designed to serve your ego. True seeking requires immense physical action and endurance right alongside spiritual trust. You know the saying, you have to tie your camel and trust in God. Ultimately, the greatest treasure you can find isn't attracting a nicer lifestyle, it's experiencing a spiritual awakening that completely transcends the material world entirely.
I want to leave you with this provocative final thought to reflect on today. Based on everything we've unpacked together, from modern psychology all the way back to 13th century poetry, ask yourself, are you trying to use your thoughts to manipulate the world into giving you what you want, or are you cultivating your mind to finally see the world clearly? Thank you so much for exploring this amazing deep dive with me, and I really encourage you to keep questioning what you're truly trying to attract on your own journey.